This is the side-lying adductor pullback activity. What we're gonna do is lay on our side, and we need a 90-degree bend at both our knees and our hips. And we also have the head supported on that bottom side arm, just like that, nice and perfectly relaxed. We also have an object in between our knees. Now, this needs to be a slightly compressible object. We have a ball here, and you could also use like a pillow folded in half. Worst case scenario, you could maybe use a foam roller, but it's generally not as compressive as we want it to be, but something like that. The object needs to be a good enough size to where it allows the knees to stay in line with the feet and also the hips. We don't want it to be too wide to where we're up here or the knee is collapsing down too much. So this is a great starting position for Trevor right here. The first thing we're gonna do is make sure our feet are nice and flat on that wall on both sides. A big common setup mistake I see is people have their feet too far back or too far forwards. You want, again, that 90-degree bend right there. So we're going to focus on feeling primarily the inner heel of this top leg right here. And we're not gonna lose the inside edge of the base of the big toe right there or the outside. So those are the points of contact. Just focus on keeping this foot flat on the wall, generally speaking. Now, to initiate this exercise, Trevor's going to do a nice, long, full 5 to 10 second exhale. That's going to bring his rib cage down, and that's going to engage a little bit of his side ab muscles right there. That's good. Now, that might tuck his pelvis underneath him a little bit, but it should happen because of the exhale. So he's gonna feel like his rib cage comes down and in a little bit as a net result of that full exhale. That's good. Now, focusing on those foot contacts on the top side, Trevor's going to very subtly pull this top knee back just a couple of inches, not letting his feet move on the wall. And then he's going to exhale and very gently push down. Gentle is the key word right here, 3 out of 10. And that's going to engage his top side leg's inner thigh muscle and maybe a little bit of the side of his butt cheek, but we'll talk about that in a second, but primarily that inner thigh. Then he's going to inhale again and try to pull it back just an inch further. If he can't get it to go back further, that's okay. Just have the subtle but low effort intention to, and that will help you get more of that inner thigh muscle on that top side. And then he's gonna repeat this process. He's gonna do this for a total of 5 breath cycles. He's never gonna let this top knee move forward. He's always gonna keep it pulled back with the intention of pulling it just a couple of centimeters or even millimeters back with each subsequent inhale. Inhale back through the nose, exhale, very gentle push down. Remember, low effort is key, and we're focused on keeping the rib cage down. Now, something you may feel in addition to the top side inner thigh muscle is some of your outside hip. Now, we need to differentiate whether you're feeling the proper outside hip muscle or a compensatory outside hip muscle. What we're looking for is the glute med muscle engaging. It's more so on the back side of the hip right about here. But if you're feeling something more so in here on the side where the bone is on the side of your hip, if you're feeling that, it generally feels tighter, like a band almost. That is not what you want to feel. If you're feeling anything on the actual side right here, that is bad, and we need to adjust ourselves out of that, which I'll talk about in a minute. But if we're feeling a little bit more back towards the back of the butt cheek, that is okay. It shouldn't be your big butt muscle, but it should be somewhere in between that actual side right here and the big glute max muscle. That would be your glute med. If you're feeling just a little bit there, that's good. But if you are feeling that muscle, that's called your TFL muscle. We do not want that engaging. So if you do feel that, you're probably trying too hard, or you are arching your back and you're not keeping your rib cage down. So check yourself on those two things. If you're still struggling to keep that muscle off, Trevor can back away from the wall a little bit and go into about this much hip bend. So now this is maybe 70 degrees of bend at his hips, and this is going to be easier for him to keep that muscle shut off. So try your best not to feel that engage whatsoever, and just try to isolate that inner thigh with low effort. The 2 most common mistakes I see here, first is, as we just kind of touched on, people will arch through their low back as they start to get tired and get that hip to come back further. Don't do that. Make sure your rib cage stays tucked in, almost like imagine I'm coming at your rib cage like this and pushing your bottom ribs in like that. That's what we're looking for. The other thing is people, in an attempt to take this top knee back, will just open up their hips like this. You don't want to do that. It should be occurring keeping your hips relatively square facing ahead, but you will be drawing that knee back. Now, ultimately, you will be getting some backward movement of this hip right here, but it shouldn't be at the cost of your whole body opening up like that. That's not what we're looking for. Trevor, let's show him what it should look like as he pulls that back. Good. Notice how it's like nice and subtle. It's nice and chill. It's not a high effort thing, and it should be nice and relaxed.